Today I'm going to do an unboxing of a diabetes testing kit. As you can see from the broken seal, I've already done some of the unboxing. It's got a nice little logbook here for, looks like the idea is to test before a meal, and then if you add insulin, you put it in there, and then after a meal there, whatever. And I guess this is just basic junk like registration stuff. Looks like it has a serial number. And I'm going to go through and do these things. It says I need to wash and dry my hands before testing. I've done that. Remove a Contour Next test strip from the bottle. But before I do that, it doesn't say anything about this thing. Working my way up to here. But this is the gizmo, and I'm guessing it has not got batteries in it, but we'll see. No, look at that. A couple 2032s. And I'm going to do some quick reading of this and be right back. Looks like I'm going to have to do this with a bunch of start-stops. So this thing, it says to remove the cap here, and boy is that tough, until you just figure out you can get down here and give it a little push. It doesn't say why I'm doing that, and it's got this thing called blood lancets. Isn't that a pretty name? I'm going to get lanced. What makes it even worse is that Sam on Cheers, remember that old TV show? I think it was the 80s. He said that he gave a fake name to women he would date for some reason, and he called himself Lance Mannion. So if these are lancets, it kind of sounds like it's even worse than what they are, as if that's not bad enough. Kind of sounds like I'm about to get screwed. Anyway, it says loosen the round protective cap on the lancet, which I guess is this, by rotating it a quarter turn. What's the protective cap? I don't know. But I'll twist this a quarter turn and see what happens. Not much. But do not remove it. Then insert the lancet firmly into the lancing device. This must be the lancing device. Okay. Now twist off the round protective cap. Oh, I get it. There's some sort of horrible pokey thing in here. And that's just taking off the protective cap to keep yourself from getting poked. Let's see if you can see that on there. Yeah, barely. Let's see if I can focus. Nope. So then what does it say? Then put this thing back on. I have my pokey thing ready to go. The puncture depth depends on the end cap setting. So this thing right here, this thing will twirl around. That would be a shallow puncture depth, I guess, and that would be a deep puncture depth. So I'll put it right in the middle. And then what? Well, the first thing I should have done was wash and dry my hands, which I did. And it says that I need a test strip, which I guess is one of these. And I'm not liking what I'm seeing here so far, because it's talking about getting the drop of blood, but so far it hasn't said anything about using the control solution. Now the control solution, as I understand it, is sort of like fake blood to calibrate your little device. There's the device again right there. So I'm going to shut this thing down and I'm going to figure out how to calibrate this thing. Alright, I found it. And it says, focusing in right here, when using your meter for the first time, you should perform a control test. Gee, what a surprise! So let's go through and see what it says to do. It says, wash and dry your hands, yeah. Remove a test strip from the bottle. Here's the bottle. And I guess one of these is a test strip. We'll throw it in there for a second until I get this shut. Then it says, hold the test strip with the gray square end facing up and insert the gray square end into the test strip port on the meter. Da-da-da-da! Oh, look at that, the meter came on. That gray square end must be circuitry. Then what? Gently rock the control bottle before opening to ensure it is mixed well. Now this little thing right here is control solution. So, gently rock, I don't know what that means. Why don't they say shake it? Let's see. Squeeze a small drop of control solution onto a clean, non-absorbent surface. Well, I guess that would be this. Can do that in here. Small drop of control solution. And then, I think that's a bigger drop than I wanted, but whatever. Do not apply this control solution to your fingertip or to the test strip directly from the bottle. Immediately touch the tip of the test strip to the drop of control solution. I guess that must have worked. Oh, it says hold it on until it beeps. Well, it beeped immediately. Let's see, you'll see the meter count down. We saw that. The meter will automatically recognize and check mark the control result for you. The check mark does not indicate the control test result is within the specified range, blah, blah, blah. Compare your control test result to the ranges provided on the test strip bottle or carton. Here we go, the test strip bottle or carton. Says the range is I don't know, I'm going to go look for this and I'll be right back. Okay, I found the range. Hopefully we could read this. Down here on the bottom, it has level 1 and level 2, and my control solution is level 2. So it needs to be somewhere between 110 and 137. And happy day, look at that, 123, so we're in good shape. So from there, I'm going to move on. This thing, I've just noticed, allows you to set a time and date, so before I get started, I am going to set the time and date, and I'll be right back. Okay, I had a little bit of an error with my camera just there. What I did when I was filming, when that error occurred, was prick my finger for the first time using the little pricking tool. I'm just about to start over. I could have used that same lancet again if I'd used a little foresight. All I would have had to do was push the lancet back in and reset the thing. But I didn't think of that, so here I am again. And I'm going to use this finger this time. I'm going to press a little bit harder. The thought is that thing going to hit my bone? But I guess it's not. So I'll hit this button again. And look at that, a little bit of blood. And I'm going to let that wipe off. Just because I've read that the first drop of blood doesn't do too well. Squeeze out a little bit more. This is a fresh test strip. And it beeped. Let's see what it says. 87. Now what the heck does that mean? I'm going to look and find out what the heck that means. Alright, so the danged thing didn't tell me what the test results mean, so I have to Google, and I already did it once to make sure I could find it, and there we have blood sugar test results. And here's what it comes up with. A fasting blood sugar level less than 100 milligrams per deciliter, which is what I assume that is. What did mine say? Something like 90 something? Is normal. This is say fasting. Now what's fasting? When you go to the doctor, they want you to fast for 12 hours. This isn't 12 hours, so I don't know. I mean, I had something to eat a couple of hours ago, and I had a Diet Mountain Dew an hour ago, and I once went into the doctor to for my physical and to get a blood test, and I told him that about 6 hours earlier I had had a diet. It was a Fresca. I had drank a Fresca, and he made me wait another 6 hours. So apparently those things have an effect. I don't know what effect it should have on this here, but from 100 to 125 is pre-diabetes. 126 blah 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 is higher, so is sort of in the diabetes range. Okay, so here's a thing with level 2. You can use markers, and there are markers on the screen. Mine's shut off because it looks like it times out after about a minute or two. But there's these 3 markers that let you know whether you've eaten or not, and logbook marker. I'm not entirely sure what you use those things for, but if you're in advanced mode, then you can scroll down through those, I guess, and choose a marker for whatever your test result is. Otherwise, when it shuts off, it'll shut off automatically when you pull the strip out, or it just shut off automatically on me because after a couple of minutes, I would have marked this as having not eaten if it hadn't shut off, but this is all good stuff to know. 1, it's going to time out. 2, you can put these markers on there, and 3, you can just avoid the marking altogether. So what I'm going to do is have a few beers and then test my blood sugar. Now the reason for this is that I've been having some headaches lately in the morning, and if I don't sleep as long as I ought to, let's say I only get 6 hours of sleep, I tend to wake up fine, and then I feel the headache creeping up, and it is a debilitating headache. It is something where I have to overdose on acetaminophen to make it go away. Alcohol, I mean, this is like after 2 beers, 2 5% beers, so alcohol shouldn't be affecting me that way. Another thing I've noticed is that it seems to affect me when I eat a lot of food while drinking. It's sort of like the opposite of what you expect for a hangover. If you want to avoid a hangover, you usually eat. At least that's what most people think, right? But you know, I eat some bacon and some eggs and some cheese, whatever. Maybe that's not good stuff to have with beer. So that's the last thing I had that caused me a real problem all day long with a massive headache. And my only concern is that, you know, maybe there's a blood sugar issue. And that's why alcohol is affecting me in a way that I don't expect it to affect me, because this homebrew I'm making, maybe it would be different if I was using a lot of, what is it? Gosh, no, I forgot. Dextrose. If I was using dextrose, that tends to, I think, ferment out almost completely, whereas if you use dry malt extract or liquid malt extract, that doesn't, you know, that leaves some sugars in the beer. It's not quite as dry of a beer. It's not as light of a beer as you would get with dextrose. And it's a heavier beer. And maybe those sugars that are in the beer is causing a problem. And you know, I kind of like drier beer anyway. I may just start using dextrose as half of my fermentables from here on out. We'll see. Anyway, now for the beer. Alright, so here's what I've decided to do. I've consumed a little bit already, 14 ounces of 5.25% beer. What I'm going to do is just drink this 1 glass of beer. After that, I'm going to wait 20 minutes, because whenever you use one of these breathalyzers, it always says to wait 20 minutes until after you finish drinking before using them. I kind of think that has to do with making sure that there's no alcohol residual in your mouth, perhaps. So maybe you could get around that just by drinking some water. Or maybe it's a matter of getting as much of the alcohol that's in your stomach into your blood as possible. I don't know. But I'm going to drink this. I'm going to wait 20 minutes. And then I'm going to test my blood again, and I'm not going to have anything to eat in the meantime. And then we'll see at least a little bit how having beer affects blood sugar. Alright, it has been 20 minutes since I finished my beer. As you can see, it is nice and empty. And I've got my machine ready. I haven't pushed the control strip in all the way yet. That's why it's not on. I'm going to use the same lancet that I used in the last test. I don't see how that could possibly matter. Maybe it does, I don't think so. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to do a blood alcohol test. The way this works is we open up the top, and I think I pressed this button. I haven't done this in a while. Nice little countdown. Once it's done, it'll beep and I'll breathe. And about what I would expect. Well, actually it says 0.03. At first it said 0.04 and then it adjusted down to 0.03. I would have expected 0.04, maybe even 0.05. Maybe I'm getting fat. What do I mean by maybe I'm getting fat? I know I'm getting fat. I'm not accustomed to being the size that I am. Anyway, so now we'll get back to testing my blood. We're going to make sure this is at a shallow, or at a deep depth, and then I'm going to have to prick my finger. Oh, guess I should wash my hands well first. Who knows, maybe sweat on your hands has a effect, I don't know. So got my hands washed. I'm going to dry off with a paper towel. Holding this thing with my the selfie stick under my arm is maybe not the best way, but whatever. So, got my hand washed pretty well. Okay, here we go. This thing takes some courage. How do you get... Okay, I know how to get up courage for this. As you push that against your finger, and you know when you press that button that some jabby thing is going to jab right into your finger, and the thought of that, especially when you're about to do it, is not a good thought. So here's the way to do it. If you're a guy, I guess this works for, not a woman. Well, maybe, who knows. You just imagine that you're at the doctor's office and you got the nurse there and or the whatever she is, the medical technician, whatever. And let's just say she's been very considerate, and instead of getting her nurse uniform from the usual medical supply outlets, suppose she got it from Frederick's of Hollywood, and that she has a nice rack and she enjoys showing it off. Well, if that's the case, then when you put this thing up to your, or she puts it up to your finger or asks for your finger, you're just going to give your finger right to her, right? You're just going to put it right in front of her. You're going to be all macho about it. And when she actually does it, you're not going to scream out in pain or anything like that. You're going to say, I don't know, you might say, have you done it yet? And put in your deepest voice or whatever. I don't know. Now, if you're a woman, I guess you're just out of luck. I don't know what I know what a woman could do. If you're a woman, I don't know that this is true. It might be true, but just imagine that maybe the pain is just a little bit less than the pain of childbirth, and you can handle that, right? So that should be easy enough. Oh! Here's another one. It could be like your own Lance Mannion that you brought home from the bar a few weeks ago, who was just a little bit bigger than you expected. And you can put up with some pain, right? Okay, so that's the kind of joke you get after 14 ounces of 5.25 beer. And here we go. Ow, God, that hurts. There's no nurse here, so I can say that. I'm going to press out one drop. Then I'm going to press out one more drop. Oops, my little tab fell out. That's not good. I'll put my little tab back in. Machine comes on. Blood goes in. Let's see what it says. 143! Holy cow! So now, the question is that, you know, what was it at before? I gotta look that up. Hang on. Alright, a couple of things have happened during that edit there. For one thing, I've changed my shirt. Now, why would I change my shirt? I will give you a hint. I'll bet you can guess. Kind of a cool shirt, kind of a take on a Motorhead t-shirt. A friend of a friend made these. He put them up on Facebook. And I bought one from a friend of a friend. It was a good way for him to earn a little bit of extra money. Who knows how many he sold. But they're pretty cool. Sort of a parody on Motorhead and on Bewitched. That is Agnes Moorehead from Bewitched. She was the mother. And that brings us to this. I've finished half of another beer. And I've also had something to eat. I ate 1/4 of a spaghetti squash, maybe a cup of Prego spaghetti sauce. I had a 1/2 pound of hamburger, ground beef. Seems like there was something else. Oh yeah, there was a roasted bell pepper, Parmesan cheese, whatever. So, now it should be interesting. I haven't waited 20 minutes to drink, but I did take waited 20 minutes before testing, but I did drink some water so that I should have no alcohol inside my mouth to affect this test. At least I hope not. We'll see. Check this out. And let's see, still at 0.03. Now, I don't know what it's been. It's probably been about a half an hour. Oh yeah, that brings me to the other thing that happened. The battery died on my phone, which is what I'm using to record this, which means I had to sit... That's why I ate. I had to sit around for a while in order to charge up my battery enough to finish the video. As I recall, we were talking about the second blood test, which was at 143, whereas the first blood test was at 87, so that's really quite a jump from drinking just one beer. Now it'll be interesting to see what happens after drinking half of another beer and taking the time to eat a little bit of dinner. And the dinner wasn't very high in sugar, of course, right? Ground beef, nothing in there. Spaghetti squash, almost nothing there. The Prego, I'll bet it had some corn syrup in it, so who knows. We'll see what happens. We'll plug this thing in, get this thing turned on, ready to go. Get this thing ready, press it hard, well, not too hard, but firmly. Push the button. Ouch, that hurt. We'll soak away that first little drop of blood. And then we'll squeeze out another one. We'll put that into the machine. Counting down. $85. Okay. I very much wasn't expecting that. I have read that these glucose meters have a fair range. Maybe you can't expect two readings to be all that close in a row, even if you just maybe use the same pinprick. I don't know. I don't think that's the problem. That sort of thing. Let's just say that they're all plus or minus 5 every reading. So who knows? So it's occurred to me that there's a response to sugar in the body, and that response is naturally produced insulin, right? So, you know, that first beer, I drank it pretty quickly. There was a 20-minute wait. I don't know how much difference that makes, or when it makes a difference, or how, but you know, over that 20 minutes, you have the sugars and the alcohol going from my stomach into the bloodstream. In the meantime, the body is trying to counteract that with insulin, right? And so then I eat and I drink another half a glass of beer. And the next thing you know, my blood sugar is right back to normal, right back to the original reading. The first reading was 87. The last reading was 85, right? So that's just the body compensating for the sugars that were added. So I guess what that means is that with me at least everything is working properly. That's good to know. But it is interesting to see what the effect was of the beer on blood sugar at first. And I'm out. I want to make a quick side comment about this beer. And that's, look how clear that is. This is a really decent beer. It tastes really good. I don't think that it would fool anybody if it was entered into a competition of any kind, but it is a worthwhile beer, and let me tell you what it is. It is just a Cooper's pre-hopped extract, like this one. In the case of the one that I'm actually drinking, it's a Cooper's wheat, and I don't think I did a boil. I don't think I added hops. It's possible that I did. It's very possible that I did. I don't know. It doesn't taste very hoppy, so I kind of think I didn't. But it was just one of these cans of Cooper's, and I was trying to get rid of stuff when I did it. Then I got rid of, so the wheat beer was way out of date, and as you can see, this is way out of date. This is went out of date on 7/25/16. That was their best before date. They don't ever expire. That's ridiculous, but you know, they want to have people use their product when it's still fresh so that they can make sure that they give the best customer experience so that people keep coming back and buying. In any case, the wheat beer was even older than this. This is Cooper's Selection, as you can see here, and Cooper's Selection is now a defunct line from Cooper's. They don't make it anymore. And so because of that, I was able to get these for about $12 a can. And I think I bought like 15 of them. So what I've been doing is keeping one of my 2 kegs filled with Cooper's and the other one with a more traditional extract beer that usually takes me 4 to 5 hours to brew the dang thing. Anyway, this also had, in order to round out the fermentables, I think I used dextrose, and I used a can of Mr. Beer, which is just another name for Cooper's, in a way. I mean, they have different lines of products, and maybe some of them are the same under different names, I don't know, but I had a 2-gallon kit can of Mexican Cerveza, so, you know, that's not going to be hoppy at all. It would, I don't know what it would be like. There's quite a few different Mexican beers. I just assume that they probably wanted to make it like that really skunky beer, the skunky beer, because it's always in that clear glass bottle. What is that beer? Corona. Anyway, it's a nice dry beer, which is what reminded me of the fact that I used dextrose. I think dextrose gets a really bad rap. And look how clear it is. It tastes really good. People who are down on Cooper's kits, and the simplicity of them and using them according to the instructions. I mean, some people buy them. It would be just completely stupid and ridiculous to buy them, to use them as part of a recipe that you're going to use hops with and specialty grains and things like that, because in the United States, these things cost just way too much money. I think this can is about $35 at normal price in the United States. That's $35 US. And if you convert that to Australian, you'll say, holy cow, I can't believe anybody would ever buy one of those. But if you can get a good deal on one, if you're not in the United States, they are pretty darn good. I try to keep one of my kegs. I have 2 kegs in my kegerator. I try lately, anyway, in order to save time. I keep one of my kegs filled with Cooper's, and another keg filled with the more traditional extract kits that takes forever to brew. Eventually, I'll get a grain father and I'll do all grain. But until then, this is where I'm at, and just my quick little advertisement for Cooper's, because this is some good stuff.